Ever?
Phone.
I'm not saying anything profound. Yep. So, Jake, we got Jake back this week. Matt, Paul, good to see you guys. Sorry from the holiday
Happy
period.
New
Matt,
Year,
how was
mate.
your break?
It was good. I've had a refreshing Christmas break. I did get a little bit ill over the period, but lots of downtime at home. Played a bit of FIFA. Played a lot of another game that I just discovered in the last week, which is going to be very bad for my use of spare time. But maybe we'll get into that at another point. But
Maybe your
yeah,
wallet
all
too.
good. What's that?
Maybe your wallet too.
No. It's good for wallet because it's free. But
It's true.
All right, drop the name of the game. Don't leave us hanging.
Yeah.
I was watching and sorry to go off topic here completely for the people listening.
Haven't even
at home,
started
but
yet.
I watched a YouTube video from a gaming channel called My Life in Gaming, who mostly cover retro games, but they do play some new stuff as well. And one of the presenters was talking about their top games of 2024, and one of the first ones he started talking about was a game called Balatro, which is a deck building game built around poker mechanics. So it kind of caught my attention, being that's my kind of industry that I work in. I thought I'm going to have to try that out of curiosity, and luckily for me, it's free on Apple Arcade, and it's just such an epic time sink. I'm so addicted to it, and it's just so like casual and easy to play. It's turn-based, so you can sort of pick it up and come back to it later, or take as long as you want to make a turn. It's so good. I can't recommend it enough.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to look at that.
I'm always terrified to look at new games because,
Oh, not me.
like, I can just about manage this one.
Oh yeah,
Are you
that's always the
afraid that it
danger,
would
isn't
take you
But-
away from this one?
No, not necessarily, but I'm afraid that I'll be like, well, I'm still going to play FIFA, and now I'm going to try and find time to play some other game that, you know.
Put it this way, I don't think if you played it and liked it, it's going to replace FIFA for you in any way, but maybe it's something you can do whilst watching TV, or have a quick game before you go to bed, or while you're having your breakfast or something. It'd be a perfect like airport game. You just like need to kill a couple of hours and not be overly taxing. It's not something that relies on sound or anything, so you can just sort of play it in your earphones or on mute and not interrupt anybody, and just time will just vanish. It's really good for that kind of thing.
I managed to put in 21 hours into Marvel Rivals over the last week. That's my confession for the week.
Impressive.
It's
Not even
really
How do you
fun
like that
game.
game?
What kind of gamer are you?
It's a fucking amazing game. It's probably one of the better team building games I've ever played. But I never played Overwatch either. I know it's a lot like that, I think.
Yeah,
But,
I can't
Yeah, I was
get
gonna
on board
ask
with
if you
hero
played
shooters.
that. I'm guessing if you did that, you would probably
No.
take to it faster. So it must be really good.
Yeah, it's really fun. I would, if you're bored or need something else to do, I would recommend trying it. But
There's just too much going on the screen, too much like visual fucking noise with Overwatch or stuff like that. I just can't get my head around it.
Yeah.
It's not for me.
You're
It
old,
would-
Matt. You're old.
Yeah.
Us kids,
I'm a
we don't
normie,
mind.
And
We
I'm
don't
old
mind,
as
like, lots
fuck.
going on, flashing lights.
yeah. Yeah, they're basically ruining COD with all the aesthetic bullshit. But
Well, that's the other thing. I really wanted to play the Squid Game event that they've put into Call of Duty in the last few days, but I'm just too stuck with Balatro to even try it at the moment, especially given that you have to pay for it.
yeah, people think we have a problem at foot with hacking. You have no idea how bad it could be in the COD community. It's terrible. They have hackers
that.
crashing servers when the hackers get killed. They're that fucking disgusting. Anyways, Jake, how was your holiday break?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Other than kind of like some of the guys mentioned, dealing with illnesses, I feel like it's been pretty bad this year specifically. So we have 3 little kids, and they're like little germ central. So one of them's always sick, and then one of them they're trying to get us sick. But gave me some time to catch up on foot a little bit, and still just be with the family. You know, like just kind of bunker down low key, read them some books. It's okay. We managed, but we're slowly getting better and getting through it.
Good deal. Glad to hear everybody made it. Let's just get into this real quick. This new promo, it's not a real popular promo, but they can't all be bangers, right? We've kind of talked about this in the past. They didn't even really say much about this promo on their website. We checked it out before we started just to make sure we knew what the hell we were talking about. And
Always
other than the
important.
aesthetic and the theme, what are we saying about this one, Jake?
Yeah, I think we talked about this before, but this is just like I call this Team of the Year filler promo number one. Like nobody cares. I don't even think they generally care that much about this promo, and I just believe that to be super true. I think that they, Winter Wildcards was a massive success, and then they kind of take some time off. Recoup. They know they're not going to get pack sales week by week, so I honestly think they just kind of set up like that, where they do some massive promos, take a break, massive promo break, and the next big one, of course, will be Team of the Year here. In terms of the promo, though, like I never like to be that person that's just like picking it apart or anything like that. We got that Pedro Neto SBC, and that's a really, really, really solid SBC. Um, he plays really well. He's got two versions. I actually really like that two version concept of SBCs too. I think that um, last year a lot of people built their massive teams with like Eusebio and Player of the Month Mbappe, and all the teams started to look really similar. They actually gave fodder out, in my opinion, much too easily last year, and everyone had SBC teams. It was like SBC, like 9 out of 11 players were SBCs, I would say. I would say on average for sure 5+. So they've been corrective in that, but I also think that if they wanted to release some good SBCs, like this is a great way to add differences. And obviously, I think in this variant, like the one with Finesse Shot, is significantly better. So it's like everyone's still getting the same variant of him, in my opinion. Like I think everyone picked the Finesse version. He's just like the better card overall. But I like the concept in general, and I like that he was really good value. With between attacking Avalanche, the first one, and then this guy as your right wing, you have like such a good attack for 400k ready. It's crazy.
Yeah. Imposter's in the chat again. He wants to know what our numbers would be.
I'm going to answer that with a illustration, but you guys carry on.
Matt's getting a prop. Paul, what would your number be?
I always used to be number 5.
Why 5?
It was 5. That was just a shirt I was given. There you go, Paul, number 5.
Let's go.
Go do your job.
Can't see mine. I would be 6. So we're
or
close.
number 14.
Oh,
Oh boy, Mets has the Seattle
Why
Sounders
6
jersey.
Hunter?
He's got a number 4 in Mets.
Number
There you
4.
go. What's that, Jake?
Sounders.
why 6? Why 6?
Well, so I never played football or soccer, as I would say it, when I was younger. I didn't get into it until afterwards, and I played in a men's league for a little while, and I wore number 6, played defensive midfielder, and then I don't know. That's where it is.
Okay, that's cool. I'd be 10. I was 10. I actually did play football,
Classic
soccer,
10.
whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I was 10 all my years growing up, and
Pulling
I
the
based that
strings.
off Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho was my favorite of all time. I think that I honestly feel sad for people that are growing up because I don't think they realize what he did for the sport when young kids like me were growing up. Because that's when YouTube just took off too, right? His viral video of the crossbar challenge and stuff. Like,
Is that a Nike
there's never
commercial?
been something like that since.
Yeah. Also, the same thing with like Ronaldo and Messi. Like you might not see caliber players like that ever play again for a long, long time.
Absolutely.
That was kind of a treat.
Yeah.
But
It is.
hey, we saw something yesterday on social media, and I sent it to our little group chat. But EA Help had posted basically a reminder not to cheat, not to buy coins, not to trade coins.
Oh,
And it was really random. They don't really do that, like, ever. So we kind of spoke about it. Jake, you weren't in the group at the time.
sure.
What do you think about that? Is it a one-off? Is it random? Or is that like a warning of what's to come?
Yeah, I would like to see the actual verbiage they used, I guess. It's obviously something that they dislike, but for me, I think that so I guess I'm just gonna speak to the coins situation, the buying and selling of coins from my understanding, and I'll be as brief as possible. But I know people that sell coins directly, And I guess there's like crazy, crazy farming of them coming from Asian countries. So what kind of happened this year, and it's more significant than other years, is coin prices got really, really, really cheap really fast. So right now, like if I think at the right place, you can buy like, to my knowledge, like 1,000,000 coins for $50, maybe $40. And that's really problematic for EA, especially if you can like kind of claim like it's legit, you won't get banned. And the reason that's problematic is because instead of giving EA money, then you could even buy coins and then go buy the store packs with coins, and it's cheaper. So I'm guessing they're starting to feel really threatened by it because it's like, I mean, I advocate for that. Like, I'm I'm not against FIFA points. I'm not for FIFA points, and my big logic behind that has always been you don't know what you're paying for, right? Like if you spend 400K on a pack, you might get 100K worth of things back or 1,000,000. And that's just gambling, but I don't really care about buying coins, especially if EA aren't taking action to prevent it, because you pay for exactly what you get. And I think that is fair. And I think, of course, it comes with an inherent risk, and that's outlined usually by coin sellers and by EA. But if you're willing to take that risk and you pay $40 for 1,000,000 coins and 1,000,000 coins gets in your account, whatever. Like that's exactly what you're paying for. And I think again with most of these issues, including this one, it's up to EA when they want to stop it. Like they could really, most of these coin sellers are running everything through web app, so that would resolve most issues if they just remove that.
Yeah.
Not super necessary. Over the years it's gotten like impossible to trade without web app even. Like most people are using bots, you know, like that simple keybind bots where it's just like D, if you press the D pad or press R, you snipe a card with one button, right? Like most people have that functionality, and then the coin sellers have something even faster than that. So it just makes it so people that don't have that, like if you're on companion app or console, you can't win snipes and stuff. So it does change the game a lot.
Yeah. And they made it really hard to snipe on console as well. And it always comes down to the web app. And the one year, I think it was FIFA 15, when they just completely just locked up the web app. Like you couldn't use it. You had to use console because it got so bad.
And that's when their coin sales were crazy high again, if you remember. Coins were dirt cheap that year.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But I didn't do it. Because I play by the T's and C's.
Let's go.
I think it's really interesting that they've posted that out there. For me, it almost does seem like, well, we did warn you. You know, we've got Team of the Year coming, massive promo, and also maybe they might not be going through like a wave of banning people, but if that warning stops 2% of people buying coins because they're terrified of being banned or whatever, it'll have done something, won't it? But they could do something quite easily and stop all this and put everyone on a more level playing field. Because, you know, if you're putting time and effort into trading and playing this game fairly, which like is so difficult now, because like you say, Jake, people are running these apps on web app or companion app, whatever it is, to build SBCs, do all this stuff. There is no level playing field anymore, is there? Do you know what I mean? And they could stamp a lot of this out. Coin sponsors that are being used by creators, because I think in this post, doesn't it say something about advertising coin sellers as well?
Yeah, it says don't buy, distribute, or farm coins. Don't promote coin buying or selling. Don't use auto buyers. Use only official EASFC apps and unmodified platforms. Don't make false claims. Don't hack other players' accounts. Don't cheat.
Yeah.
Those are the 7 commandments afoot.
Laughable. I mean, I think that if they wanted to make a statement, they have the potential to do this like in one go. Like they could do it within a month, and they could target the bigger creators who have coin sponsors like U7. The funny thing is, and I've talked about this actually on my page, is U7 is like the biggest coin seller, I think, and they're from I think they're a Chinese-based company, and they farm coins to get them, and then they also just hack your account. Like they're like actually like they will literally just take your coins back and like hack you. And but they're promoted by huge creators like Danny Aaron's and stuff, and Inception, and like for if you actually buy coins from them, like you will get banned and or hacked and or both. So it's just a really bad partnership for those guys in general. And this isn't targeting those individuals. They might not even know, but I can tell you like the partnerships with them, because even like myself have gotten offers from that, is super lucrative because they have like infinite amount of money because they farm coins. So the marketing to them is like nothing. Like I can tell you for a fact that they've offered some of those YouTubers upwards of $15,000 a month to promote their coin businesses. So I think that if it says on EA's site, don't promote buying or selling coins, and you have these huge creators doing it, and EA says, then we're not going to let you promote our player game. Like EA has every right to take the content off YouTube. They've shown that in the past.
Yeah.
Like that is their distribution. They could literally say like, if you do this, we're not going to let you post your FIFA videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And they would only need
they-
to do it for
they-
a week.
it
Smash
would take a
some of the
month,
big
and that would
guys.
be the biggest statement they could
Yeah.
make. But when they
Yeah.
make claims like that with no follow through, like everyone's like, oh, like
This is
I'm so scared.
and that's the whole reason I brought up the question, because I wonder if they are about to take action. But I mean, we've been approached, footballers. We've been approached by 3 different coin sellers asking if we would advertise for them. I tell them to go fuck themselves every time. But I feel like if they went after a big content creator, that would be all what they need to do. Like that would just put the fear of God into everybody else who make a living off of this game, and it's not even
Yeah.
worth the risk, in my opinion. Especially if you make your money off of this game. It's I
Yeah.
don't know.
Twitter
Yeah.
would explode with fear of, coin buying, selling, all that, and it wouldn't take much, would it? And they'd solve 90% of the issue overnight.
And coin buyers and sellers have gotten really smart too. Like if you actually look on some of their website pages, they say like, you're not paying for coins, you're paying for trading service. We're gonna pick up cards cheap for you. So you can't like really prove that I mean, we all know what they're doing, but they've covered themselves with legal words for protection. Like we're gonna snipe cards on your account, and if you profit, you profit. Like
Yeah.
it's really clever. And I think that's just one more thing I'd like to say for EA, because this is speaking personally, but like EA, they should just try to enhance and work with their creators. Like there's so many good creators. Like for me, like personally, I love like Zwayback because he's he's himself, and he has been, and he's his own account. But like EA should start to partner with some of these people and content creators, and even potentially give them some payments to do certain things with them, because it's like, if you are trying to make a career and living with FIFA, you need to be supported. And right now, you're more likely to be supported through coin sellers than EA Sports directly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I never even thought
And-
about it like that.
And like for me, and because I hear some of your guys' opinions differ from mine, and I respect your opinions fully, but for me, I have a coin sponsorship deal, and with what they offer me, it allows me to create content more. That's just as simple as it is. Like without the sponsorship, I don't have resources to allocate to it. I can't create content all day and be 30 years old with 3 kids and not have any type of monetization
It's
from
a
it.
business at the end of the day. I get it.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like however you can support yourself in that. And obviously there's morals and legalities around it. But if EA were to want to support people, I'm sure they would be happy to listen.
Yeah.
The
See, that's
money's
the
not an
problem.
issue, is it?
What's
It's
that?
not like they've not got the money to put a small percentage of that into supporting creators.
Yeah.
They
we're
never
not-
do, man. They
we're-
don't even have like a creator code to use for FIFA points like 99% of games have right now.
Yeah, and we've got creators out there who are having to fucking buy themselves to go to certain events. It's only been the last year or two that pro players have actually started getting some sort of money for playing this game. Do you know what I mean? Like, and even then, it's still not at the levels where it should be. But I think it's improved a lot on it. But yeah, like you've got some big guys, Nick Run the Foot Market, Nate, who pump this game out, you know, on a regular basis, like EA could work with those guys and really really push it forward. Do you know what I mean? Like Nate's a perfect example. Nate's really cool. I love Nate. And they throw him a few quid. He's got to break some content that's coming on his stream, or whatever it might be. Everyone wins, but they just don't seem interested in doing that.
Yeah. Well, Metz, we'll come to you to round this out and move on. But before, I just wanted to say that I think it's not fair that EA want to make everybody else use morals and play by rules and have integrity when they are probably some of the most morally corrupt people in gaming at the moment with the way they do their business practices. That's just my personal opinion. Metz,
For sure.
Where are you at on that?
Yeah.
Well, the rules are on the door when you enter to play the
No
game,
doubt.
unfortunately. By playing
Morals
it,
are
you're
morals,
agreeing to
though.
those rules, which is, I wanted to ask Jake, as someone who partakes in a coin sponsorship.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't blame you for doing it whatsoever.
Absolutely.
But
No, I respect your
what-
guys' opinions too.
what would your reaction be if EA started going after people in terms of banning active content creators who are open about their coin sponsorships? Would you... Well, you'd obviously have to stop because you're creating content around the game, but would you be in protest of it? Would you try and make a movement, get momentum behind it to try and curry favour online, or would you just accept it and sort of pivot into something else?
Oh, I would just pivot 100%. I just do it because it's viable and available. And honestly, the coin sponsor I work with is like really safe, and it's all automated, their system. So like it hasn't come with any bans. That's another important thing for me is like I've been offered more money by other sites, but I don't trust those sites. So that's something that is important to me for people. Like if they're spending their money, I want their account to be safe. That's always the truth. You know, and it's just kind of one of those things. Like it's kind of like, so for me, this was years ago. I've been trading so long. I DM'd the FUT economist Jamie right when he got the job, and I said, you need to crack down on these things because it's going to get really bad. And I gave him a list of sniping bots and tools and extensions and sent him the codes and everything I had because I'm super against them generally. And then it's just kind of like, okay, if you don't care, then I don't care.
Right.
That's the message
Yeah.
that they're sending.
I think
And So I would pivot if needed, but I tried to force a change, and clearly they don't care in my mind. Like they have shown no initiative to care and to stop
Yeah.
things. And so I was just like, okay, then.
What's going on, Jake, is that in the past they clearly haven't cared. It's been too much effort or resource required to police this properly for them to do anything about it in a meaningful way. I think it's now getting to the point where their revenues are depleting year on year, and they're trying to think of ways to protect their revenue stream as much as possible. And they're leaving themselves an option to do something, and basically they can turn to people who complain about it and say, well, we did warn you openly, and it's against the TOS when you basically join the game from day one. But in the past, it's a case of they were making so much money they didn't care at the detriment of the player experience. Now it's at the detriment of their revenues. They have to do a little bit more about it. I think we'll see more of this going forward, but it's clearly the timing of it is, we know Team of the Year is coming up. They've started doing the voting, I think, today, so we're right on the edge of that. Anyone who buys coins in the next couple of weeks is basically on blast. You know, you're doing it at your peril, and they will choose to act if they want to. They're not going to do it to every single person, but they're going to cherry pick people to make examples of, or they'll pick cases whereby it's high profile enough but it won't cause massive community disruption. Like if the biggest content creators who have coin sponsors get banned, it'll be too much egg on their face to make it worth their while, but they'll pick people a little bit further down the chain as a good warning sign to the bigger ones to basically get out of that, to pivot into something else perhaps. But the timing is everything. Like they could have done this on day one. They could have done it every week of the season. They haven't done it. It's 2 weeks or so before Team of the Year. It's quite clear what they're trying to do is just keep a lid on how much wastage they're getting by people spending their money elsewhere. So it's whether they do a ban waive or not is another thing, but it's quite clear. It's, I'm not going to call it an act of desperation, but it's like this is where the big money comes in each season. They have to make the absolute most of it. And
For
I think
sure.
year on year, it is probably ticking down a little bit now. So they're forced to act on this occasion.
And not only that, but I think that this year, like I said, with the farming of coins, is going to be an extreme. Because if rates keep going kind of how they are, you're probably looking at like team of the season for like $25 for 1,000,000 coins. Like, good luck selling packs even for team of the season, which is usually like a big send off at that point. But who in their right mind would do that, right? Where you could buy 4 times as many packs with just buying the coins up front. And if it seems relatively safe, people will do it.
Well, I've got a solution to that I just thought about on the fly. That's why we're talking about this. And all they would have to do is, you know how, perhaps more so in the past than it is now, but there was definitely a time where most people wanted a first owner version of a card more so than buying one off the market. If you give some specific abilities to a card that's unique to its first owner status, that will stop people, or certainly discourage more people from going into the market with bot farm coin generated income. They open more packs, pack it yourself, and this card will be even better than it would be if you get it off the market. It'll have some sort of attribute multiplier attached to it, which makes your pack pulled version of that card, whether it's tradable or untradeable, unique and better than one you can get off the market. And that would discourage so much of what we're talking about here.
Yeah, I could see EA heading that route for sure, where it's just like simple upgrades for playing 10 games, right? Like, that kind of removes a whole nother thing where it's like you have to play with cards and buy cards, and then you have 10. If you play 10 games, say you get a +1 pace, something very
Or
generic.
a card, each unique instance of a card loses stats every time it's traded. Imagine if a card went
That'd be crazy.
down.
That's a lot to deal with.
Every time it's traded, until eventually it became worthless to somebody.
Yeah.
That would stop a lot of unnecessary trading very quickly.
That would get insane.
Yeah, they're pretty good at making cards worthless.
This is what playing Balatros made me think of, like the various things that you can attach to card rankings and stuff. But I think there's so much room for outside of the box thinking that they haven't tapped into yet, and I think they'll get there. They're going to have to do things a lot differently than they've been used to over recent years, because the amount of other disruptors that are out there for people's attention, other games, are really taking away from the amount of money they can make each year now. They're going to have to be very different to how they've been in the past.
Okay. I think that was a good chat, good debate. Somebody told me in the chat that I had some audio issues that they couldn't hear me. Is it any better, Matt?
Yeah, I think it's when you're talking at the same time as someone else, it's muting your mic. I guess that's how it's supposed to be, so that's fine.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, did you guys see the new numero foot challenge that came out today?
I did, yes.
If you're not really a menu grinder, you might want to go and check that one out, because there's loads of SP in there, and you get an ultimate pack at the end of it. So, might be worth your time to go and check that out. It's not very difficult to do. It just takes a little bit of time. Play 3 rivals, play 4 squad battles, score 5 in rush, do 2 SPCs and list 1 player. That's pretty easy stuff. You can do you can do that in a day.
That's pretty easy.
Yeah. What about well, we're going to get on EA's case again here, but it's the annual massive fuck up where they gave anyone who had held their guaranteed winter wildcard pack a winter wildcard Haaland. Why do I always seem to miss out on this shit?
I didn't even know that was in the game. That's like, because it had been Christmas and New Year, when I'd been playing, I'd sort of just jumped on and played a couple of Rivals games or whatever, and I wasn't sort of keeping track until I came home on Friday afternoon. Twitter had exploded. Somebody sent me a message saying, "Have you got your Haaland?" I'm like, no, of course I haven't. Like, and then sussed out what had gone on, and then Matt goes and fucking gets one. Of course, Matt had a pack there, just boom, Haaland ready and waiting. But I don't know. how long it was out for, because I know lots of people jumped on trying to grind the games to get it, but I think they'd fixed it pretty quick.
I think it's about an hour and a half, if I'm correct.
Oh, really? So give people opportunity to go out there and get it then, because I think rush games or squad battle wins. Rush wins or squad battle wins, I think, were the one that I was missing.
Yeah, I was quite happy with that. Although I've gone from basically a couple of weeks ago having a striker crisis to now I've got 3 extremely good strikers, one of which is Haaland. And there's more on the market with this numero foot promo that I would like to have as well. So I've got a real selection dilemma. So basically my choices as my main striker in a 4-2-3-1 is the Winter Wilds card Socrates, which I did, which is very good. I did the Lukaku SBC that came out this week. It was also really good. And then Haaland. The only thing I would say, Haaland's clearly the best of the 3, but he has really bad passing. And I think being the tip of the spear in that formation is good if you can play backwards a little bit when you're coming up against really good defenders, and Haaland's just going to end up hitting a brick wall sometimes. But it's certainly a nice option to have off the bench as it currently stands.
Yeah.
That's a nice one to get, in it.
So did you have it pretty accessible to you, Matt? Did you have to do like a couple things quick before you got the pack?
No. Basically, I'd played like a full allocation of rivals, got the maximum rewards. Basically, after the last game I played, just checked out the game for a few days, was doing other things, Christmassy stuff, and just forgotten to claim my objective rewards and stuff. I logged in after 6 o'clock just to see what the content was, got the pack, saw what people were saying in Discord, and just opened it and got it. So sheer ignorance, whatever you want to call it, it just fell into my lap. So I was very happy about it.
Yeah, and that just, the reason I ask, because I think that is you'd have to be pretty lucky, I think, to be a part of this one, because so many people had opened that so long ago. I think the percentage of this is way worse than those other mistakes. Granted that he was like guaranteed, right? But I still think the percentage of people that got him is extremely low, that had that available and or could get it available to them in that hour and a half or hour, whatever it ended up being. But yeah, overall, I think it's just a stupid mistake, and I seriously do wonder about how mechanically they get that to function. Like, Haaland has 100% drop rate. Like, I don't really understand how that happens when it wasn't that case in that case the week before leading up to it. So I'm just curious, like, what goes on behind the scenes sometimes to cause that.
I got a few theories.
It'd be interesting to know why just specifically Haaland popped. But I agree, I don't think many people have got that. I played maybe 20 games this weekend in foot champs and whatnot, and I didn't come up against him once. I came up against the centre-back version once, but not the striker.
Yeah, I've not played against him either yet.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it theoretically could happen if you were coding the pack weight to say, like, 100% of the time, don't let them pack Haaland, and you accidentally make it to where they do.
Wow, can you imagine that?
Yeah.
No, I couldn't
I guess
imagine
isn't
doing that.
as game-breaking as Team of the Year Messi last year, let's say.
I feel like
it's
this
just one of those things that people see on Twitter and get really pissed off, like, why not me? And that's bad enough for EA to cause disgruntlement in the community, but as far as how it affects the game, nowhere near as bad.
I do feel like they got on this one much faster than the Messi one. The Messi one went for over an hour. This one was probably, 15, 20 minutes?
Well, I think one thing that they need to do is really start having a look at their like Q&A procedure and stuff for the deployment of these cards, these promos before Team of the Year comes out. They can't afford to fuck up like they did last year again, because the amount of grief that caused. Like, it's probably top 3 mistakes they've ever made. They need to have like a clean run through this Team of the Year to sort of redeem themselves a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that hard, really.
It shouldn't, but, here we go.
Yeah. I wouldn't have been that bothered about Haaland anyway, so I didn't have any FOMO. I'm like, I'd probably rather use Gold Griezmann, to be honest, just because that I'm
'Cause you're
terrible
a
with those big
finesse
guys.
enjoyer.
I'm terrible with those big guys. So, yeah, I'd have probably used him for 5 games, got really frustrated that I can't use him, and then put him on the bench. But
Yeah. Paul doesn't like big guys.
I don't like big guys. Scare me slightly.
He gets a little overwhelmed.
I do, yeah. But
It's a lot
not
to
a little
handle.
overwhelmed. I'm super overwhelmed by big guys.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Well, we talked about Team of the Year predictions. The vote came out today, so if you haven't yet, go check it out and let your voice be heard, because I'm sure they're going to actually put in who we vote for. They're not going to put in who sells packs. But yeah,
Yeah,
I did
right.
mine, and I chose all the Americans in the female one just because I'm a homer. But I had a really hard time deciding who that third midfielder was. We talked about it last week, but I ended up picking Cole Palmer.
Cole Palmer, he's the man.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair pick. I think there's going to be a lot of situations like that this year where you're like, oh, I could see that. Where it's like, I don't know. I know people get kind of heated about it, but I'm like, I see a few options. Like if someone put Yamal in, like, I would be like, okay, makes sense.
Yeah,
Even
I
though
voted
if
for
I
him.
might not have him in mine.
I put him in mine.
Yeah.
And it,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I
do
feel
it
like there's
as we-
two
as
different
we
types
speak.
of voters, though. There's people who vote on actual performance in real life, and there's people who vote for, I would like to have that as a foot card, which is why I think like Neymar got in it so many years, and he wasn't even playing.
I voted for Neymar again. Good candidate.
See?
yeah,
No, I'm just kidding.
Top
I'm just kidding.
candidate.
Just kidding.
yeah.
There's people out there, though, that do it.
Oh, yeah.
People get angry. Like, people come back with stats and everything, like bring up the sofa score and everything. Like, people get angry if you put in someone that might not have, just because you want them to, because they're a great foot card. You're like, yeah, I'll sling him in.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I did
yeah,
it for the
I'm,
female team. I have no idea how Bacha's performing this year, but she was in my team of the year.
Yeah, I ain't even voted. I don't even know if I did last year, actually. I was just like, just give me what you're going to give me.
None of us are going to pack one anyway.
I am. I'm going in there positive this year. I am going to pack one.
You're going to be disappointed.
I don't think I got... Oh, I did get one last year. I got Onabatie.
Who?
Onabatie.
I love that.
That
She
sounds
is,
right. That sounds
and-
right.
It has to be.
and she stayed in my team for a while. She was my first female card last year. So
She was special to you.
she is very special to me. We have a bond.
Mm.
We have a bond.
Apparently, there's streamers. We're not going to name any names, but apparently there were streamers voting purely on looks for the women's team, which is disgusting.
Outrageous.
Outrageous.
I would never do that unless it was Alex Morgan.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
Understandable. You get a pass for that. Paul, let's talk about how you got cooked.
Oh, so yesterday, I lost a game in Foot Champs and I lost smiling, like actually quite happy that I got beat. I was just like last 3 or 4 games left of Foot Champs, and I saw this team crop up. Well, I didn't see the team crop up. I was like, went into the game. I'm like, that looks like Andy Cook. I'm the only guy in this game who's got Andy Cook. Andy Cook's a Bradford City striker, phenomenal player. And then I looked, and this guy had Bobby Poynton at right wing, Bradford City player. I was like, oh, he's got a few Bradford City Evos. Anyway, this guy, Connor Downs, shout out to Connor Downs, he had a full, apart from goalkeeper, he had Buffon in net, but the other 10 were Bradford City Evos, and I had like a full meta team, like, good team. This guy smashed me with 74 rated fucking centre backs. a right winger, like just he battered me. And I had a little bit of a back and forth with him, chat with him. This guy gets like 9 wins, 10 wins, whatever with this team, which I find phenomenal. So it just shows, doesn't it, that you can put a few Evos together and have some, if you're half decent at the game, you can just have fun. Like, because this guy must have so much fun going into games and spanking dickheads like me 3-0 after 25 minutes and getting me to rage quit. Yeah, like, that's, for me, that's what Evos are all about, aren't they? And I've started 2 more Evos today because I'd not started them because I thought these are never going to get in my team, but now they are going to get in my team. We're going for it. And we're taking Clark Adore from 63 rated, getting him up to the heights of 80 rated. 80
I was going to
rated.
talk about that. The evolutions. I'm getting real, like, I feel like there was a steady grind upwards, you know, where you can get cards that were just creeping from 85 to 86 to 87. And then they run the Octopus 2, which they ran in like the first, 2 weeks, right?
Really
This
early,
one,
yeah.
They did everybody did Minu, I think, for that one, but like it's capped at 87. So I feel like the curve is moving and Evos are not quite moving with it. And I know it's going to be behind the curve, but I feel like it's falling far behind the curve. And maybe that's because they want to push more packs. I don't know. But they're not doing any pay for Evos here. They haven't done any pay for Evos in a while. Kind of confused on their strategy with that one. Matt, you got any kind of...
Oh, it's just because of Team of the Year. They don't want you buying players to significantly upgrade your team cheaply when they can fleece you out of potentially hundreds of dollars in Team of the Year and then sell you Evos afterwards, right? That's purely all it is. And having free Evos is good for engagement, so they want to increase those daily active users and whatnot, which is a very important metric for their shareholders and whatnot. So Evos are great for that, particularly free ones. So I think that's your answer in a nutshell. Generally, I don't think there's any more sort of nefarious reason than that. But that in itself maybe goes against the spirit of Evos. But I think there's plenty of room for people to build these one club type Evos like Paul does, more so this year than previously, just for the sheer volume of different Evos that we've had. And if you start with really low rated cards and go for the free ones, they only increase the card rating very slightly. So you can stack them a lot better than, say, going for the paid ones that increase your card rating by multiple. And then they get to a certain rating, like, say, 87, which makes them harder to upgrade at that point. So I think people are getting more joy going on the journey of doing multiple Evos on the same card. Like, I've got a card, I've got a Spanish Napoli defender who was very low rated. I think he was a bronze, actually. I've got him up to, like, 79 rated with 6 Evos, and
Wow.
He's a first team choice for me now. And somehow he's managed to get 99 rated in all of the dribbling categories at centre back, apart from dribbling itself, weirdly enough, but like 99 agility, 99 balance, all that good stuff. So it has this weird utility that you just wouldn't get from like a market issued card or something like that. And I think this is part of the experience that people are really enjoying is going through this multiple Evo route and just developing some really like off-kilter type cars that you just wouldn't see. Uniqueness adds to the novelty of the game, that's for sure.
I heard as well a theory that, and it makes a lot of sense to me, that they could see the metrics of new players coming in around Christmas and the holiday super high. So the last 2 Evos have been re-releases that weren't available. The Ronaldinho one and then this Octopus, because they didn't have the opportunity to hit it. So that's logical to me.
Yeah, and we had some bangers through Winter Wildcards, didn't we? You know, the one with Finesse Plus and Press Proven, like that really did make some nice cards. I didn't end up doing it because the card I really wanted, it didn't give him Finesse Plus. I think we spoke about it last week, so I didn't go there, but yeah, we've had some good ones, and I'm seeing in game, like in Rivals Weekend League, people are using Evos quite a lot, like some really nice ones as well, where you're like, who's this guy? And then you play against them in game, and they're an absolute beast in midfield, or that the passing's unbelievable with Incisive Plus or whatever it is. So yeah, people are really getting after it. I would do more, I think, if I played Rush more, which I probably should do just to get those Evos done, but I find it hard.
We actually have some Rush related questions, and Pompel wanted to ask Matt specifically. Mets, have you tried to play Rush with an actual group of people and not just random Rush tards yet?
Nope.
Nope. Don't want to?
Nope.
Okay.
Takes too much effort to organise that shit. You know, I don't know when I'm going to get to play. That's my problem. So I don't want to have to go through the effort of organising like a co-op session with someone. I play when I feel like it. Could be any time of day or night. It's just too much of a ball ache for me. And yeah, I don't want to be like talking to people whilst I'm playing FIFA. I talk all day at work. I don't want to do it whilst I'm playing a game.
Well, I'm glad you
I'm
choose
not
to
the
talk
co-op
with us.
guy. That's just not me. I can appreciate it being a much better playing experience, but it's just too much fucking effort. I don't like the way the industry's going with all this like co-op focus nonsense. It really fucks me off.
We should have a silence Rush group in the Discord. So if you want to play Rush, but not
Yeah,
talk
it's
to
like the glory
anybody,
hole of Rush. That would be lovely.
so we'll
I'd
play
definitely
together,
go for that.
but we're not fucking talking. We'll
Imagine the rage. They would all just be four people sitting there pissed off to the max. Just
yeah. Yeah.
But talking about like playing with rush tards, though, I think I'm generally quite an even keel person. This is where Hunter's going to tell you fucking bullshit. But when I play Rush, and almost every game you're playing with at least one, if not three other complete idiots, I always end up sending someone at the end of the game like a savage message, calling them brain dead or something, because they just... Why do they always want to play up front with like an unevoed Aaron Wan-Bissaka or someone and think that they can try and score all the goals and go on these amazing dribbles that get dispossessed every time, and then one time they'll break the back line and just square it to you for a tap in and they just shoot instead.
Yeah.
It's just like, what were you expecting with like a card with like 40 shooting? It's like, are you fucking crazy? Doesn't make any sense.
We need some more options in game rather than sorry, thanks, nice, and unlucky.
Oh.
We need some like 18 plus ones, I think, just to
in some of
spice
the
it up a little bit.
PS2 era PES games, which you could play online via PC, they used to allow you to type in a pre-selected bunch of messages that you could like key off on your
that shit
like,
ain't
shoulder
happening.
buttons and stuff.
Yeah.
And
That
they
ain't
were
happening.
savage.
Yeah. That's how they
Snowflakes
get.
would be melting around the world, and they would take it
It'd
away
be
immediately.
so fun though. Like, not for long. Like,
No.
let's
Yeah.
just run a little test for.
Keir
2
Starmer would
hours,
throw me in jail for
1
what I
week.
would say to these people.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you go to
Actually,
jail
just
for
before
that.
I better not carry on sending them. I might get the busies round.
Yeah, they might lock you up, Matt. You
I
might
heard
send
that.
somebody too much.
I heard that in the UK that they're like arresting people for saying mean things.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Your feelings hurt you. You can go to the police and they will come and.
People can rape your children,
arrest-
but you can't say nasty things about them.
No, you
Better
don't.
not
Whoa, you can't say nasty things about rapists. Are you mad?
Oof.
Not in England. Not in
The world's gone
England.
mad. You know, Justin Trudeau's resigned today.
Has he really?
That's,
Yeah.
Trump was calling him
Oh.
Governor Trudeau.
The great dictator.
Oh,
I don't think anybody likes him, to be honest.
no.
Anyway,
Anyway, let's not go down that.
Yeah. yep.
Let's talk about finesse shots.
Yeah,
More precision shooting and finesse shots.
I
Mostly.
thought precision shooting with Travella was the meta from what I've seen on like pro events and stuff.
Well, precision shooting is just good anyway, in my experience. Like,
is it worth the risk though?
I used it last year. Oh, 100% worth the risk. for me, the benefits way outweigh the negatives of it. I score goals, probably more than 60% of my goals I would not score on assisted, whether that's finesse shots, one-on-ones, near post, like just so much better. And I saw somebody post something today actually, and I thought, do you know what, you're right. Like when you use precision shooting, you're not raging at the game when you miss. When you miss, you're like, you dickhead. Do you know what I mean? Because it's your own fault. Like if you miss, you miss. And yeah, I'm a little bit angry that it's become a thing lots of people are talking about at the moment, because I really enjoyed it when we were the real minority. But they do need to fix one or two things. Like I can go down the byline with, I don't know, Kenny Dalglish or Saka and bang a finesse shot near post above the keeper's head, and it just goes in. Like if
You
I
need
get
to start
myself,
posting some of these in Discord. I'd love to see that.
if I get in that position, I'm scoring. Like it is a little bit broken. They need to probably fix that.
I didn't know it was a thing until yesterday. I saw quite a few people trying to do it in Rush, and I'm like, what are these fucking idiots doing? And then they started making a couple of them.
Oh,
And
really?
I was like,
Yeah, but I score so many finesse shots outside the box. I don't concede loads. So obviously people are not using it, but I am seeing more and more now people scoring finesses. I don't even time them green either, just finesse plus. And away you go. I feel like it's going to get patched at some point though. But yeah, I've just been watching the FC Pro tonight, and they're scoring loads of finesse shots, it seems. So
I said just before we started, I saw Neymar do a really nice near post precision trivela, which was just pretty unique, to say the least.
Yeah.
someone's using Harry Kane. He's finesse plus anti, so nobody's using Harry Kane normally, are they?
You know who you would like, Paul, that you're probably not going to be able to get now is the Squad Battles Raspadori that came out a couple of weeks ago. He's very nice.
Oh, is he really?
With finesse plus.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
I blasted all mine on useless packs. I should have done the icon, but I didn't. I just got carried away and spent all my tokens on packs.
Mm. So, back to precision shooting. I tried it. I find it harder to use this year, but I also don't find it as beneficial because I haven't gotten to the point to where I'm like, oh, I can't finish. Like, I don't have a problem finishing. I just, it's not a flex.
We know that.
That's fucking awesome. I don't, but yeah, I just don't see it as worth the risk because with it on, you're likely to have some really bad shots sometimes.
Oh, you do. These the odd times sometimes when my finesse shots go out for a throw-in, but that just happens sometimes. But I'd much rather that than not be able to score some of the goals that I do. And I'm in charge of where the ball goes when I shoot. Like there's a skill gap there for sure.
How much is it connection dependent though, Paul?
No, I don't really notice it. Don't get me wrong, sometimes if the connection's bad, you're not getting your right stick round fast enough, and they're usually the ones that go out for a corner or whatever, or a throw-in. But it rarely happens now. I think if you turn it on, some people, within an hour or so, I've seen people yesterday posting about within an hour or so, they're on it, and they just pick it up. It took me slightly longer than that, but I'm fucking 44 years old. Everything takes me longer. Well, not everything. But, you know, it's... Yeah, it's...
You beat me to the punch on that one.
It's definitely the move.
Yeah, I think there's something that feels good about saying like I missed that shot, where a game that often feels uncontrolled. So it might even be slightly placeboed, I think, in that way, but it probably feels really good for people, which there's nothing wrong about that either. And I think to tell about its effectiveness is watching what pros are doing, right? I think it's just that simple, because if it's the most optimal way to do it, they will do it.
It's true.
Yeah. And, they've been forced to do it, haven't they, this year? And I've seen lots of them commenting now saying that they'd never go back to assisted. So that tells you that, it's, these are pros as well, they'll exploit it to the...
Yeah, but they're also playing like 12 hours a day, probably. It's like, how much time does a casual have to put their limited time available at risk to learn this new skill, which ultimately isn't going to benefit them that much, because the amount of volume of games that they get in is so low.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think if you spend a good session on it, like, sit down after work or whatever, sit down, by the end of the evening, you'll be buzzing by some of the goals that you're scoring. And you might miss one or two, but the satisfaction of scoring them is also just nice.
Pompel says he likes his shots uncontrolled.
Yeah, Pompel he's not
Spaffing.
He's not got the ability, shall we say, to use precision shooting. But not everybody is the best player on their street, are they?
That guy that beat you was probably on your street.
He's not far from me. If he's a Bradford fan, he's definitely within 50 miles of me. Yeah, that was so cool, that team. I wish I had the whereabouts about. I wish I had the dedication to sit down and build that team and put all that time into those Evos. But I don't. I'm like, oh, look at that Madison card. I'm going to use that one instead because it's got finesse plus and he's English, and I'm not using a 72 rated silver for the next week or two till the next Evo comes along.
Yeah, it's understandable. Well, we're out of time this week. Next week we'll be back, hopefully with some more Team of the Year hype. I don't know how long they're going to run this numero foot. Hopefully not more than a week, but we'll see.
One thing we got to say very quickly about Numero Foot is it finally delivered the Serie A content I've been looking for. Like, there's so many reasonably priced ones, and then you got the mega Rafael Leao one that almost no one will get. But after many weeks of being starved of the type of cards I'm after, I've got a plethora now, so appreciate you, EA. Well done.
We've got James Rodriguez as well.
Yes, I meant to mention that. I think that's a sleeper of a card. Yeah. He is back big time. That is
not really. They just ended his contract today, but he's back in foot for that card.
Yeah, that was so
they've
funny.
binned him off.
They have.
Yeah, that was so funny. He had a good run.
He had a good run.
You should
remove from foot tomorrow.
Yeah.
You might not get another sort of European main league card ever again.
No, I might not.
No, probably not.
There is some nice cards in this, so for cheap. I like the promo. That Madison's brilliant. I don't know if they've sorted his price range out yet. But he's worth the 50k, whatever they were, all day.
Cool.
Yeah. Another thing we're saying as well, just very quickly before we go, Hunter, is there's a lot of low-rated, basically discard stuff in that promo. If there's anything there that is remotely interesting to you, but perhaps doesn't quite fit your team just now, after Team of the Year, some of those are going to go into Evos, almost certainly. So
For sure.
we're picking up a few between the sort of 15 to 30k mark. Just sit them in the club, in the waiting room for something else. But definitely take a shot, I would say. It's probably worth the risk, because the price they currently are, you can easily just get your money back.
Yeah.
A precision shot. Yep. Okay. See what I did there? All right, that wraps
Saw
it
what
up.
you did there.
We'll catch you guys next week. Jake, thanks for coming back on. Always good
Absolutely, it's
catching
been
up with
fun, guys. Always good to
Yeah.
hear from you.
Always
Matt?
fun.
you. Paul,
And a
see you
bizzle.
guys next week.